Trails to Azure is here, and thanks to NIS America, I received a review copy, which we will be talking about today. If you aren't familiar with Trails to Azure, it is the continuation to a game that we covered not that long ago, Trails to Zero. Both games were translated by the fan group Geofront and partnered with NIS America to make these copies happen, which is pretty exciting. I never got to play any of the Trails series before, and I actually started with Zero. I made a little video on talking about what that experience was like. There's a lot of you guys that came down in the comments and said that that was super not cool, but I had a lot of fun with it, and moving into Azure from Zero worked out pretty darn well. Now, that being said, I would not suggest starting off with Azure. In fact, get Zero if you haven't played it yet, because you really do need to play that to get into this. The game releases on March 14th for the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 4, and on PC Steam, which I believe you can pre-order all of those now. There is also a collector's edition, which we will talk about in a little bit. So the game continues off directly from the end of the last game, and you know, one of the things about the first game that I thought was the intro was a little bit slow, but this one really starts off with some fire. I'm not going to show any gameplay of it here. You get into a pretty wicked fight at the top half of it, and you have, you know, pretty leveled up characters and everything, and it's just a ton of fun right off the go. It's pretty cool that they throw you into it and they don't sit there and make you do a lot of tutorials or really even have a super bunch of text. It felt pretty refreshing to me. Now again, without going into spoilers, your team has changed a little bit since the end of the first game. You no longer have Tio or Randy, and instead you have two new recruits, and I gotta say, I really like playing with them right off the bat. One of them has like a machine gun that hits like a AoE area, which is really cool. And I really appreciated having her in battles right off the top. Now I have the ability to import save data with the game, moving over from your Zero copy. And if you do so, you actually get some extra scenes added in and some dialogue. There's a couple little treats for fans that are continuing off. And I think that was a really cool little addition that they added in. I don't know if that was in the original PSP versions. I never did play them because obviously they weren't officially translated. But Geofront must have done a fantastic job because NIS wanted to partner with them. So huge shout out to Geofront. Even though I don't know a whole lot about you, you must do great work. So if you're coming in from Zero and you haven't played Azure yet, you might be wondering what some of the new features are. And this game does have a few. It's mostly the same experience that you had before, which was a top tier experience, I do have to say. But they did add a couple new things in, one of which is there is now back attack. So when enemies attack you from the back, and when you attack enemies from the back, you will gain advantage in the battles. It doesn't really seem like it's too big of a deal, but it is kind of fun to try to do. And I did enjoy the advantages that I gained in battle during those. One of the coolest features that I think that this game has is you now have a customizable car for transport. And there's kind of this whole little story mission that goes on at the very beginning of the game with it. And it's just really cool. They give you a lot of really great cutscenes of the car traveling from location to location. So far from what I've played of the game, you don't actually get to take control of the car itself. You just kind of select what area you want to go to. But the little bit that I showed was pretty cool because it just kind of shows the world that you traverse on foot in a different light as you kind of travel through it. And also there's this whole little cutscene where they're driving through town and everything and showing it off to everyone, and people are all wowing over this fancy car. It's kind of fun. It's a cool little experience. Like the last game, there's kind of this like cozy vibe to it all, and I really do enjoy it a lot. It's kind of a relaxing game. The music absolutely just, it slaps. It feels really good. You feel like you're having a nice, relaxing time. And it's often hard to put the game down. Also, speaking of new features, they have the Enigma device, which is upgraded. It's the device that you use to put your different like crystals and quartz in and everything like that. This upgrade comes with the ability to have a master quartz that you add in, which is kind of like the big honcho crystal that you add in. And unlike having to upgrade it and do different things to combine it like you do with the normal crystals, this one actually levels up along with your characters, which I thought was a lot of fun. And from what I've read online, people say, you know, later in the series, they have added that feature in as well. And it can be OP at times, but it seems to be pretty balanced in Azure. So the last feature that they added in is called Burst. And it's kind of a big fight mechanic, as I understand it. What you want to do is try to build up memory, and you can have 120 points total, and you gain memory by attacking enemies. There's a lot of different things. I'm not going to go into the deep details of it, but there is a lot of different things that affect how many points that you do gain. So immediately after using Burst, all negative effects will be removed from the party. Any enemy's channeling will be canceled, and all party members will have their delay reduced to 0. Enemies won't be able to attack during this time, but they will be able to counterattack. Basically makes your characters really powerful. You'll also have all your arts are instantly used without spending a turn to cast them. All party members gain 10 CP per turn, and all damage dealt by the party is increased by a whopping 20%. Honestly, wasn't expecting a bunch of new features with this, so I was kind of surprised when I started playing the game and I got to see these cool new things. It is really cool, and I heard as the Trail series continues, there's a lot more of that for me to experience, and I really do look forward to it. If you're interested in the game, you can not only buy it digitally and physically for all the platforms that I listed before, but there's also a collector's edition that you can get. The collector's edition comes with a hardcover art book, a soundtrack with 10 songs, 4 acrylic stands that have the new recruits on them, including the dog, which is pretty cool. It has a cloth poster, a steel book, and, you know, the go-to collector's box that you get pretty much with everything anymore. Just means it's a thicker box that looks a little nicer. I will note at this time, it looks like it's sold out in quite a bit of places, and there's a lot of eBay scalping, but I will have a link below where you can get, I believe it's the European version on playasia.com if you really need to have that collector's edition in your life. Looks like they still have some copies available, and by buying it, you can also help support the page using our link. Kind of hard for me to talk a whole ton about this game, only because there is so many similarities with the first game, and I mean that in the absolute best way possible. It is a very great, fantastic RPG, and I'm really interested in getting more into the series. You guys have also suggested I play the older games, and I think I actually probably will at some point, because I really do think that there's something pretty magical about these games. They're well written, there's humor, there's action, and it's just a good time. There's a lot of different side stuff you can do. There's fishing and a huge cooking thing. Like, I mean, cooking is really pushed in this game from the very beginning. I don't know what it is about Azure, but they really, really want you to cook. The last thing that I wanted to mention is the data import system. So not only can you bring your save data from the last game into this game, also NAS has said that when Trails into Reverie releases, you'll be able to use the save data from Azure and get extra bonuses in that, which I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely going to be playing that one as well. You like awesome, cozy RPGs that kind of have a retro feel, but still play very well in the modern age. I cannot suggest this game series enough. Again, I'm kind of a noob to it, but I am going to be delving a lot more into it and look forward to what comes ahead. If you guys like this content, hit the thumbs up. If you don't, hit the thumbs down. I'd love to hear what you think about the game below. And if you want to see more anime news, reviews, and gaming, check out Yokoso Otaku. Also, let me know if you'd like to see a live stream, because I actually might want to live stream this one a little bit. It's really fun, and I can really delve into some hours on it.